Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and today is our once a month critical thinking adventure. So happy to see I-10 here and the helicopter emojis. So let's jump right in. Yeah, long time no see. We're doing these once a month now, so you might feel like you see these a little bit less, and you are correct. Happy Easter and other holidays to those celebrating. For me, it's probably just a giant weekend of chocolate. Um, and of course, thanks as always to my paid Patreons. You can join our Patreon, patreon.com/CXCC. There's also a free tier, so you don't have to pay if you don't want to, but the lowest paid tier is $1 American a month and hopefully affordable for most peeps. So let me get my screen ready. And we did get a handful of things this week, so we'll be taking a look at those. I think we have 6 or 7 things. So let's press this button. And that should be okay, great. So here's my screen. Here's the live chat room. Here's me down here. And of course, the tip jar, dcx.to/tip. Though I rarely get those, but it's fun. Okay, so the first one somebody sent me was from about 3 weeks ago. This is someone I'm not connected to or following. I'm not familiar with Madison Leonard, so I have no opinions on this person. But it looks like they come from marketing. It says go to market strategy for startups. So this might be, and their hashtags say product management, marketing. So, this is someone who may or may not be coming from a CX or UX perspective. So let's see what they say. This is the exact framework I use for tier 1 product launches at multi-billion-dollar companies. It also helped me win some award. I'm giving it away for free. In this framework, I've identified 4 categories: sales, product, marketing, and PMM foundations. I think PMM is product marketing management. No, yeah, something like that. What sets this framework apart is that it doesn't focus solely on specific deliverables. Many PMMs today fall into the trap of thinking, we're launching a new product, so we need a blog post. However, I-10, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, too sweet. Thank you. Totally optional. Thank you for the 20 Swedish money units. Thank you. I will eat more chocolate this weekend. Anyway, continuing to read this. It's essential to ask ourselves why. Every deliverable should have a clear hypothesis that answers the following: who will benefit from this? What metrics define success? This framework allows for deliverable flexibility so the team can focus more on the big picture and prioritize impact over BOM. My personal favorite: onboarding. So overlooked when launching a new product, but super impactful for new user activation. Yeah, except by then you got the user, you've had the growth. Now you're just trying to get them on board. Um, Save this framework. So if we blow up this framework, what do we learn? I'm going to zoom in on it because I have a large screen. You're welcome. I was cat sitting today. I got inspired, but it's a dog. Oh well. Well, thank you. I appreciate the dog. Okay, so this is a framework. Let's ask ourselves the usual questions that we ask on this channel. Let's see, is this the right question? Yes. Is this meaningful? Is this actionable? Is this helpful? Well, where do we start? This person says it's a framework. Is it a process? When do I do which of these things? How do I do these things? I just have whenever I see these things, I always think of my evil grandmother who would happily give you her chocolate cake recipe and leave out the secret ingredient so that yours would never be as good as hers. Like, do we need Madison? Do we need to pay this person to come train us because you'll never do this as well as she does it, because this really doesn't tell you how to do what she does? Outbound. Okay, so we know about outbound marketing, sure. Discovery. Create and promote additional discovery questions for the product. What to this person is a discovery question? I don't know. Train AEs on incorporating a new product into the holistic platform narrative. Were they not doing that before? Leverage CSMs to engage with low retention accounts. Were they not doing that before? Leverage AEs to light the fire under a slow moving deal. Were they not doing that before? Hey, Ix, how's it been? For me, it's just too confusing, but I'm neurodivergent. I gave up. Aitan says Medium is full of articles like this. They give you the next big thing and they don't tell you how. It's all over the place. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's hard for me to say this is a good or bad framework because you can't just hand this to someone and they go, oh my gosh, yes, I'm totally going to use this, because this looks like a bunch of things companies probably should be doing already. Target high satisfaction accounts to expand. Segment pricing, packaging, positioning, which are, part of the 4 P's of marketing, which have been around for decades. Onboarding, curate a self-serve onboarding path for each persona. Define adoption and activation. All resources go towards these. Well, except up here where we go towards retention. Yeah, this one's really hard for me to feel good about. I think it's easy for people to click like on this. And if you're in growth or marketing or something, this might look like something that makes sense to you. This might speak your language and you might go, oh, yeah, these are things I should be doing. But when I look at them, I feel like these things seem like things most companies should be doing. And as we've pointed out, we don't know how to do these things. When are we doing them well? Who does these things? Um, so yeah, I tend to not be in love with frameworks, and the meaningful, actionable, helpful tends to be why. It's hard to take action on that framework because I don't know where to start or what to do or how to know if I'm doing it right. So good luck, Madison. Um, Next, someone said, okay, hold on, we're getting comments with these. So this one, I want to know what you think of this job. Is it asking for too much? Is it asking for too much without reveal of the structure of the product team or design teams and what the candidate would be working on specifically? Look, very rarely is a job description going to tell you structure of teams or what you're going to be working on specifically. Sometimes these projects are secret. So I haven't looked at the job description yet, but I think I would feel comfortable saying job descriptions very rarely explain product teams or organizational structure, and job descriptions don't always tell you what you're going to work on. Sometimes they might tell you what department or area you're in. Haven't heard of this company and what they do sounds vague. Okay, so let's take a look. Senior product designer at Instinctive Drives in Australia. Okay, I'm not familiar with them. Let's take a look. Um, Role overview. I'm just going to jump to that. You will own the end-to-end user experience, champion our customers in everything we do, build and own an ambitious, achievable roadmap, think big to dream up innovative features, autonomous, working with team to drive designs from ideation to delivery, collaborate with devs, stakeholders, lead customer advisory engagements for research, feedback, and usability testing. But this role's not for everyone. We don't just sell a product. We're passionate about what. Okay, so this is very waffly. It is extremely vague. You're right. We really don't know what these people do or who they are. It does sound like it's some sort of combination UX product management job. Let's see what they say you're going to do. Identify, diagnose, and research product ideas. Choose the best tool to communicate the problem and solution. Build prototypes. Define stories. Iterate. Yeah. So this sounds like this is part product manager, part designer. It says research, but it says research product ideas. I don't see anything about research. Oh, wait, lead customer interviews on the product experience. So it sounds like there's a lot of evaluative research, but I'm not hearing generative or early or discovery research. So this sounds like product designer who can usability test their stuff and product manager together. But what does this company do? This definitely doesn't seem clear, so I would end up having to go to their website or page to learn more about them. We're passionate about positive impact that will have on the world, and we want everyone to have their aha moment. With our unique tools, individuals will quickly understand what drives and motivates people. When an individual understands what they need to be there. Yeah, so even that I can't tell what they do. That normally drives me away from applying. If it sounds like it's a lot of meaningless blah 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 text, I10 says yes, I do so many different things in what was discussed in the interview. UX, but different team and scope. Yeah, so definitely hard to say what's going on here. I probably would assume they're a startup or a scale up because it's so weird, but it says they're fully remote. So if you're looking for something fully remote and you feel you can combine product management and design and some research, why not go for it? Maybe in the interview you will find out what the hell they do. All right, let's find the next one. Next one was a job link without any commentary. So let's take a look. UI UX designer, customer experience and design team at Nordea in Helsinki. All right. This didn't come with with commentary, so let's see. I don't know what Nordea is. Are you looking to have an impact on the financial experience of 11 million customers? So financial experience, okay. We're primarily in Copenhagen, but we're in other places. What will you be doing? End-to-end automation components. Nordea is a bank. Thank you, Aitan. End-to-end automation components. That piece I'm not totally understanding. User flows I do understand. Drive customer and employee experience from concept to development, working side by side with designers, developers, and it's funny. This job seems similar to the previous one, but different. But some of the same buzzwords and phrases. We're looking for someone that's curious, looking for ways to grow their design skills. Does that mean they're going to get mentoring and coaching? 2+ years. Okay, so they are looking for someone more junior. We have 8 team members, a lead, 4 designer service. Okay, so hopefully you're getting some coaching there. Designing solutions for complex customer needs, and they have a service designer, so that's a good sign. Partnering, influencing, and supporting other cross-functional delivery teams to shape digital product or vision using design thinking, which again we know has a variety of definitions. It could mean a really fantastic human-centered design process, including service design. And it could mean a really stripped down, skimped, let's workshop it and throw darts at it kind of thing. So, again, when I see design thinking, sure, I can be a bit pessimistic about it, but I want to ask what their definition is. Because if they say, oh, design thinking, that's the full human centered design process, just the way we've been doing it for decades, then I go, oh, okay. Yeah, so people define it differently, and I'm willing to have some patience and wait to find out how people define it. If I'm in this interview and I say, oh, tell me more about your definition of design thinking, and they say, oh, we expect all UX work to be done in workshops, and you're going to guess at it, and it has to happen in a few days, then I go, oh, this is not for me. One researcher among 6 designers. Yeah, I mean, in general, it's a bit of a small team for a bank with 11 million customers. I really would hope that there's a larger team, but I must say it's great that they already have one service designer and one researcher. I think that's pretty good. And then 4 designers, and then this would be adding another designer. So I think for a team for a company that seems to just be starting out with UX and things related to it, that's great that they already have 8 people and they're adding a ninth when so many people are being laid off. So I have to say, this job doesn't bother me unless and until I hear their definition of design thinking. But yeah, if this matches you, go for it. Though it is hybrid, so they expect you to be in the Scandinavian cities. I10 says, I think it's not all they have. This home journey design team sounds like a specific part of project of the company. Right. Sometimes you're just working on a piece of things, and there could be other UX teams. That's true at my job. We're not the only UX department at the organization. There are other UX departments. All right. Next, that's it for jobs that you've sent in. Now let's look at an article. This says, is this feasible? I feel like it'd be there, but forgotten if delivery backlog is packed. Okay, so I don't even get that comment. Let's see what we've got here. Josh. I'm not familiar with Josh. I don't follow Josh. I haven't heard of Josh. So let's see. I advise product teams to maintain not one backlog, but two. One, a discovery backlog. Two, a delivery backlog. Maintaining two backlogs helps teams reinforce the key principle that strong product teams do not simply design and ship requested features. Instead, they generate and evaluate multiple solution options in discovery and promote to delivery only the solutions they validate in discovery. And tame the complexity of managing and communicating the flow of product ideas. Um, I think my first question is why is it a backlog? But it sounds like this person's going to now explain that. So thanks to this person for writing a long post that really could have been an article that explains it more. So the discovery backlog is a list of candidate opportunities to be prioritized for discovery. An opportunity is a specific problem, pain point, unmet need, or unmet desire we've identified in our customers, users, or business that we believe we can address by improving our product. Various formats exist for populating the discovery backlog. The key is making sure that each opportunity has at least a high level answer for these four questions. What's the problem we're trying to solve? Who are we trying to solve the problem for? What outcomes are we hoping for by solving the problem? What observations support our understanding of the breadth of intensity of the problem? Um, so I could read on for this. Now let's go back to the question we were asked because maybe this will make more sense. Is it feasible? I feel like it'd be there, but forgotten if delivery backlog is packed. Okay. So is this feasible? I don't see anything stopping you from creating a discovery backlog. I'm not sure why it's a backlog. Um, it just sounds like it's some sort of documentation of um, problems. So it's really a set of problem statements, and the problem statements would have connected data related to the pro. Now it's funny, it's a problem. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? That is the problem. Who are we solving the problem for? What outcomes are we hoping for by solving the problem? What observations support our understanding? So one, two, and three, I would have a lot more critique or negative critique for this person if they didn't have number four here. And so I think number four is really interesting and important. I think that's where this is going to be made or broken because if and they're saying what observations, which means to me, it means have we observed our target audiences? Did we watch them to know that we understand this problem and we understand how big or deep or difficult this problem or pain point or need is? Um, and then it sounds like you're going to prioritize, but then how do you prioritize these things? We're missing some pieces here. Are we prioritizing things based on how well they answer these four questions, based on discussions with other teammates, or is a product manager doing this alone, not collaborating with others, not asking UX, not asking engineering? So I think there's a lot of pieces missing here. It sounds like something you could do, and it even reminds me a little bit of Aha's system. Definitely hashtag not sponsored. I am not using Aha. But it sounds like the kind of thing you could make an Aha or an Aha-like tool, maybe even a Jira-like tool. But again, to me, I don't think we have enough information here to know what this person's really shooting for. And I also don't know how much of this is this person's original ideas or is just rewording or rehashing what's in other books. So I don't have a sense of that either. But ultimately, um, again, I have too many questions here. What observations support it? We could put a lot of garbage in there. We could say, well, one of our customers called and said they want a thing. Well, does that mean we do it? Does that mean that is a good understanding of the problem? So I feel like there's still some stuff here that makes me say, this seems a little bit easy to fake or get wrong or put some garbage into. And so I would be curious kind of what guidelines or guardrails this person has to make sure that we're not putting in opinions, guesses, and assumptions and calling them opportunities or observations or hypotheses or customer problems or things like that. So I guess I'm not totally feeling this one. I think it needs more cooking time. Do they have like a link here? No, so it's not like go read my full book about this. So I feel like there's missing pieces here. Next, why the best outcome might be, but we already knew that from Janelle Ward. Let me unequivocally say, is that the right word? I'm so sleepy. I do not follow Janelle Ward. I have unfollowed Janelle Ward. I often disagree with Janelle Ward. So let's see what Janelle is saying here. Why the best outcome might be, but we already knew that. Okay, so we're going to first hear a story about 1999 when she's in a college class. I'm going to skip that. Who is Janelle Ward? I don't know. Just somebody I've bumped into a few times on LinkedIn and saw enough on LinkedIn to know that I didn't want to see more. Let's see if I can figure out when this article gets to the point, because the point is the best outcome, hypothetically, of a research project, because I think she's a researcher, is but we already knew that, which is funny because I always tell you I think that's a bad outcome because what ends up happening, so let me give you my take without knowing yet what she's going to say. I tend to say that's a bad outcome for research because what it can accidentally light a fire under is, well, then why do we need this research? If so many times we do research, we just learn the thing we already knew, or we learn the thing we already assumed, guessed, hypothesized, then gosh, we must not need this research. We must be pretty good. We must really know stuff. And we're overpaying this research to tell us, yep, you were right. And I think it can work against our jobs and work against our work. And then it also makes me wonder what's up with the quality of your research that you're not finding, never or rarely finding new insights that people didn't already know. Why would the best outcome of research be to tell people the things they already knew? So we're going to have to try to find, but we already knew that. The joy of validation. Let's give stakeholders the benefit of the doubt. Say they did already know that. We tested an assumption and it's correct. It's the most wonderful thing in the world. You were right. You validated your assumption through research, but the process has resulted in a reduction of risk. You can make a more confident decision. Isn't that a great feeling? Uh, am I the only person feeling a little infantilized right now? And I think she's serious, but there's something about the tone that sounds. First, I thought she was being sarcastic, but then I think she's being serious. Generating theory is key to scientific inquiry, but so are validating and falsifying. Validating an assumption is radically different than informal psychology experiment at a university, which you spent most of the article telling us about. Research isn't just about uncovering shiny new objects, it's about becoming more certain about what we already know. Okay, I guess I can agree that sometimes research validates or tells us what we already know was partially or wholly correct. But why would that be the best outcome? That's where my concern is. I'm not sure it's the best outcome. Anybody watching live want to chime in on this? Is this the best outcome? And is LinkedIn not showing again that I'm live? No, LinkedIn's not showing I'm live. They've been doing that lately. I don't know why. So, yeah, so as usual, I disagree with her. I don't understand the article. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I it seems to be, I mean, based on the title, the best outcome from your research might be to validate what people already knew, theorized, assumed. I don't agree with that. And look at the cookie notice. Yeah, no. I've written and I've said that I think while oh, hi Linda, great to see you here. In my experience, validating non-research product manager spoke with clients is not necessarily a best outcome, but it's not nothing either. Yeah, I think that's a good question. Who is doing the research and how is that research done? Um, I'd feel much better if Linda or Aitan validated an assumption. But you know, it comes down to rigor and method and technique and science and strategy. So, but ultimately, I usually tell people that one of the best thing, like, okay, what's the best outcome from research? To me, what I always say is the best outcome from research is we answered people's unanswered questions. We answered their unanswered questions, and that might include converting opinions, guesses, and assumptions into evidence, data, and knowledge. That's not necessarily validating and saying, you were right. Oh my God, everything was right. It's great when that happens. Oh, Andre's here. How are you? Is this a big issue that people are having doing research and only finding things they already know? I do find sometimes from people in our community or sometimes people I've coached, people have talked about how sometimes people are talking about when non researchers do research, like, hey, my product manager did research, and wouldn't you know, they they were right about everything. They validated everything they set out to validate. And then it's like, uh-oh, um, that seems interesting. Really? They didn't learn anything new? They didn't have anything that went against their assumptions or opinions or guesses. So I think there is an issue when research only somehow manages to say, yep, we were right, and doesn't seem to turn over or uncover, discover new insights or have new suggestions or help us go in some new directions. So that makes me a little nervous there. Oh my God, Debbie, I found the article and I read her little story in the beginning. She talks about testing the theory in real life. I'm really confused now. Yeah, I'm going to pass on this one. And I'm going to continue to say that to me, the best research outcome is we answered people's unanswered questions. Maybe some of those questions are help me understand people's behaviors. Maybe some of those questions are, am I right when I think that people do this or think this or want this or need this? Okay, some of them are going to be assumptions. But I love when I surprise my stakeholders, my teammates, my clients with something they didn't already know. Because then they go, oh my gosh, it's so good we did this research. We didn't know that. You found us the answers to the unanswered questions. Or, holy cats, we thought it was like this, and you proved that it's actually like this. This is great. We needed to hear this. I even had that at my current job. When I did my first study, some of what I found was opposite of the research they'd previously done. What was the research they previously did? A focus group in 2008. Okay, it's good that I did some fresher research and we were able to go in some better directions. Linda says product managers may claim they already found out the research findings in their discussions with clients. There's no recordings to back up the product manager's version. Which questions did they ask? Were they leading? Andre says 100%. Yes, very often when a product manager says, well, we found this, I say, can I see your questions? And they've pretty much never shown me the questions. I've asked for them and I've never been given them. So that's concerning. Okay, we've got two more today. Next is the tyranny of collaborative ideation. I found this so fascinating and wanted to share and see what you think. Quote, if you were alone in your cabin, heard a deafening crash, looked out of the porthole, and saw an iceberg, felt the floor sinking beneath you, your intensity of interest would drive you so hard and so fast that it would force you to think up something to do. On the other hand, if there were two of us in that cabin, we might just look at each other blankly and wait for the other to suggest something. Let's take a look. This is an article called The Tyranny of Collaborative Ideation. It's from almost a year ago. It's written by someone I've never heard of, so I can't say anything about this person. I don't know their background. I don't know who they are. We can try to look them up on LinkedIn. I'm not sure I found them, but an engineer? Hi, Linda. So let's see what they're saying. This is a pretty long article, so let's see how fast they get. This is a top highlight, so let's see if this is a key point. Brainstorming is seen as a group activity. Collaborative whiteboarding is commonplace. Every ideation tool is filled to the brim with pushy collaborative features. Since the late 50s, science has shown again and again that when we come up with ideas together, there's a loss in both quantity and quality of the ideas generated. I have heard that as well. I've read that as well, that multiple studies have shown that while brainstorming meetings and workshops feel fun and feel creative, they are typically not where the best or the most ideas happen. I've heard that from multiple sources, so I would have to say I believe that. This is okay. So now this person's quoting studies. Great, good to have. We've talked about this in the past. We mean if we're going to look at if this is meaningful, actionable, helpful, it's helpful. This person is saying, look, this isn't just my opinion. I've got some studies to back this up. Here's a full list of literature of multiple studies over the past 70 something years where people have looked into this. So definitely a winner for helpful. Let's take a look at what else this person is saying. How ideas get made. Okay, they're still quoting some studies. Coming up with ideas, light bulb over the head, seems to strike people at random. This has been demystified. Ideas emerge when the mind shifts focus from the immediate surroundings, creating room for new combinations or adaptations of existing information. Yes, and I've even quoted Joe Rohde, Rohde, someone I follow a lot and admire quite a lot. When people ask me who I admire, I have to remember to mention him and not just Larry Marine. He's mentioned these things as well, and he would know as he is the former vice president of Walt Disney Imagineering, and he's considered one of the most innovative and creative people on the planet. If you've ever been to Disney's Animal Kingdom, that's his, among other things. So let's see. Our brain generates ideas like the flow of water. Okay, this is getting a little bit esoteric, but it's probably still interesting. What was his point again? This article is tyranny of collaborative. Okay, so we've got to get to the tyranny. The invention of brainstorming. Okay, so this person's doing a good job setting us up with a lot of foundational information, quoting sources and studies. So again, I would give it a high score for helpful. So far, not fantastically actionable, and I think it could be meaningful, but like, how does this apply to me? I don't know yet. And this is the quote that the person sent in, I think. No, different one. The early participants dubbed our efforts brainstorm sessions, and quite aptly so, because in this case, brainstorm means to use the brain to storm a creative problem and to do so in a commando fashion with each stormer or audaciously attacking the same objective. Okay, so this sounds like the root of the word, which is interesting. Generating ideas and selecting ideas. Okay. Why collaboration stifles ideation? There is three elements in collaborative work that stifles ideation. Two are social issues, common hazards of teamwork, lacking sense of mustness. So it looks like they're going to explain these. And the third is cognitive. Group thinking differs from individual thinking. Look, I kind of like this so far. It's hard to take action on so far, but it's definitely helpful. And I think there is a lot of meaning here. Again, I'm just not sure yet what I would do at my job or my company after reading this. But it's definitely an interesting article. I do feel like I want to at least keep skimming it. I don't feel done with it. Sometimes y'all send me articles, and very quickly I'm like, oh my God, can I please stop reading this? Or can we skip to the end and figure out what this person's saying? But I think this one is interesting. So let's keep going and see what they're saying. Hazards of teamwork. Social dynamics, hierarchies, participants don't want to look stupid, misunderstandings in context, and here's another study, fear of social disapproval, authority hierarchy, domination of the session by vocal persons. Totally agree with all of that. So far, this seems really good. This is not just someone's opinion. It's not just, I did this at my company, you should do it too. It's a really interesting collection of studies and sources. Yeah, iTunes says very good article. I'll read it too. Andre says sounds like a focus group. Lacking sense of mustness. So, okay, so here's the quote the person sent me in their commentary. Mustness. The mustness of solo thinking. So it sounds like the idea with this whole cabin thing, I think this is really a personality thing. When I think about the problems that my husband and I sometimes run into, not with each other, just with the world around us and the situations we find ourselves in, we are definitely action people. And we're usually not waiting for the other person to do something. One of us is going to do something or suggest something. We're usually not just sitting there looking at each other. I think we're action people. So I think that for this quote, if there's two people in the cabin, if they're high action people, they're probably not looking at each other blankly and waiting for the other person to do something. At least that's not our experience. Um, but I understand what they're saying about the bystander effect and the idea that once you get people in a group, and especially if there's no clear hierarchy or leader, the question is who's doing something. Group thinking versus individual thinking, we know about this. That's fine. Best practices for ideation. So, um, this was the tyranny of I don't so I think the article didn't match its title very well because we didn't did we really learn about the tyranny? uh no, we definitely learned about a lot of downsides, but then they said, here's some recommendations for solo ideation. So it sounds like ultimately this person is recommending that if you are ideating, it shouldn't be in groups and workshops and meetings and whatever. It's really best done solo. And Joe Rody echoed that as well in a quote that I've shared before. I also think that my best ideas tend to be alone, but then sometimes I can present those to other people and they help them become better. Um, Stimulate pattern recognition, utilize external prompts, avoid judicial thinking, avoid fixating. And personally, for me, I find that I get some of my best thoughts and ideas taking a shower or walking down a quiet country road. Some people have told me they feel like they get their best ideas swimming or walking on a beach. And so I think that also your environment is really important for creativity and fresh ideas. That's not always going to happen at a desk or in a conference room. So, yeah, so the article has a little bit of actionable stuff in it. It was still interesting and helpful. So yeah, I think it's okay. Um, Andre says, I've wondered the same thing, especially when doing analysis and synthesis, individual versus together. Yeah, it's going to be up to individual styles. It's hard for me to say always do this or never do this. It's going to be individual styles and who's on the team. And we've got our last one today. So this came with a long quote. Oh, and this is my content note. So this was a quote from the recent event that Rosenfeld Media did, which I did not attend on purpose. And it looked like some people had the opportunity to ask questions of the panel that was there. And on the panel was Teresa Torres, who many of you know I'm not a fan of. You could call me an anti fan. And she tends to recommend a lot of not just democratization of UX research, but in many cases, disempowerment of UX research because she wants product managers to do research. I'm not too sure why we're listening to her advice on how to do research because her own LinkedIn makes it look like she was never a researcher. So I'm not too sure why we're taking her advice on research. So this was the event. So someone linked to the event, um, and um, but this was the quote. So they went into the transcript and they found a quote. Someone asked Teresa, "Why aren't other disciplines democratizing their work? Why does it have to be only UX research?" And I think that's a fair question. Though I would probably say that Teresa might be someone who also wants everyone to do design, not sure. But yes, she definitely wants everyone to do research, and it often sounds like she wants product managers to do more research than researchers. This will be explored further in an article I'm working on. But this was Teresa's answer. Let's read it out loud and let's apply our critical thinking. And we don't know what she, we don't know what's in her head. We only know what she said. So let's listen to what she said. And I didn't hear it, so I'm putting my own intonation on it. Her answer was, quote, "We are democratizing engineering. Look around your organization. How many teams in your company are using no-code tools that as little as 2 to 3 years ago required engineering work? How many teams are using dashboards that used to require engineering work? But now we have good data tools that don't require an engineer to do a SQL query to get you the data you want. This idea of democratizing is happening all over organizations in all roles." End quote. I can see why this was sent to me. Anybody want to comment on it before I do? That's not democratization, it's just development of tech. I agree that it's not democratization. Anybody else want to comment? I know some of you are probably typing and we're a little bit delayed between when I say something and when you say something. But yes, so this is not a definition of democratization. And it's something I sometimes find Teresa doing. When people ask her a question, I sometimes find she answers a different question. And if you're not using your critical thinking and you're not listening closely, you feel like, oh, yeah, okay. Still nobody tells Debs anybody can do your job. Yes, exactly. ITUN's certainly on a roll here. So engineering has not been democratized. Nobody is telling engineering that everyone has to code, that everyone has to. Yeah, it's not a one-to-one comparison. Linda says, "What do engineers have to say in response to these new tools being used by non-engineers?" Um, I think that the thing here is um, this this doesn't really make sense. We're talking about there being some tools that have some automation, like a dashboard. Lots of tools and systems make dashboards. That doesn't mean engineering got democratized. We still need engineers, and we still give engineers engineering work where we have it. How come using dashboards means doing developers' work in product development? I agree, Pierre. I feel like this is one of Teresa's non-answer answers. We're not democratizing engineering by having automated dashboards. We're not democratizing engineering by using Microsoft Excel. We're not democratizing engineering by building a prototype in Axure. We're not democratizing engineering by having new ways to pull data, um, because it's doesn't match the definition of democratizing. We're not telling these people that everyone can do their job. We're not telling these people that they should never do their job alone and that it's always a team effort. We're not telling these people that other people own what they do or control what they do. Democratizing is not happening all over organizations in all roles. She would have a very difficult time supporting that. I don't know if she said anything past this. Nobody, this is as far as the quote was sent to me. But democratizing is not happening all over organizations in all roles. Marketing has not been democratized. We don't go up to business analysts and say, hey, why don't you try some marketing? We don't go up to engineers and say, well, you're going to do the marketing today. We don't go up to engineers and say, why don't you do some product management? We don't go up to, you see where I'm going with this. So it's very easy to say, hey, democratizing is happening all over the place, but it's not. And I'm sorry that people, I don't know what happened after this was said, but if nobody said to her, you're wrong, or that's not an answer, or tell us more about this democratizing that's happening all over organizations and all roles. I would, or what's your definition of democratizing? So, yeah, no, no, thanks. Nope. This is not that. I found the video, but it's triggering. Yeah, that's why I did not attend this event. I generally avoid, oops, sorry, I hit my mouse. I generally avoid Rosenfeld stuff, and I'm going to probably be avoiding anything with Merholtz or Torres in it. But yeah, if you want to watch past that point, good luck, or check the transcript. Maybe the transcript has something beyond that, but I know that I don't want to see it. All right, welcome back. And thanks to everybody who sent stuff in. If you would like to send in something for critical thinking, which is the last Friday of each month, over here. Where did it go? deltacx.com/links is where you can send something in for critical thinking. Yes, you'll have to wait a few weeks, quite possibly because I'm only doing these once a month, and it's the last thing we still do on the Delta CX channel. Everything else is now on the CX-CC channel, so I hope you will subscribe there. And let's see, we continue these conversations in our online communities. Please remember that we have a free Slack community, two free Discord communities covering different things. One is more Delta CX and the craft of UX work, one Discord community, and our other Discord community is more customer experience, customer centricity, product strategy, business strategy, and a much more broader set of topics, and matches our Patreon. Hey, did you check out our Patreon? CXCC. We've got over 230 members in our Patreon now, and those are the people who are the first to know things. They get early access to my articles, and they get other kinds of involvement in early access and discounts on stuff as well. So, all right, so I'm going to set fire to this on the way out. And let's see, let's take a quick look at what's coming next week, since I've been planning 2 live webinars a week. So Monday, the webinar is UX is a Bottleneck is a Self-Fulfilling Prophecy. That'll be Monday. Tuesday is Q&A AMA. And then Wednesdays is, oh, I have to write this one this weekend. Unpaid interview challenges that benefit companies. Some people from the community sent in examples, and we're going to be talking about why this is unethical. All right, I'm going to blast us out of here. Everybody have a super weekend. If you celebrate something, enjoy it. If not, have some good chocolate, and I'll see everybody next week. Thanks.